Welcome to Connecting Women in Insurance with me, your host, Julie. This podcast is a celebration of incredible women making waves throughout the insurance industry. Each has a unique story of hurdles and triumphs that have shaped her career. Join me each week as we connect with these remarkable women and hear about the challenges they face both personally and professionally and how they use these obstacles as stepping stones. My hope is that through their experiences, you will find encouragement and inspiration in your own life's journey. Tune in as we celebrate the power of women in insurance. Thank you for taking the time to watch the very first episode of Connecting Women in Insurance. If you will, please hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss any future episodes. And I would love to hear from you, so drop your comments below in the chat. Thanks. Today I have with me Ms. Alex Cary, FORTIFIED Market Development Manager at IBHS. Alex, I am so excited you were able to join me today.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here. Looking forward to it.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and what IBHS is and what you do there.
Okay. So I am the FORTIFIED Market Development Manager. That means I'm out there in the various markets, just basically establishing relationships, which I really enjoy. The Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety, that's what IBHS stands for.
Okay.
We are largely a research organization. We're funded 100% by the property insurance and reinsurance industry. And our whole mission is to reduce losses and the kinds of suffering that we're seeing each and every day with, the devastation and all these disasters and the impact that it has, to really reduce those losses and reduce that devastation and loss, from a personal perspective as well as a property perspective.
So, Alex, tell me what made you decide on a career in the insurance industry or in an industry that works with the insurance, and how did you get started in this? Is this kind of what you always wanted to do? I mean,
that's a good question. So I always answer that, be it a construction or insurance industry. How did you get into it? By saying I got an English degree, because what can you do with that, really? Yeah, that really was the start. And when I got out of college, I had zero idea what I wanted to do. And by the way, I changed my majors, probably 5 different times.
So I thought 90% of Americans.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Like some people, there's a part of me that envied that, but there's also a part of me that really liked the flow of my path, truly, because
right.
I've really sort of each thing led into a new thing.
Right.
And there's a definite flow and direction there, which is great. So yeah, I got my degree, and then I did not want to work in an office. And funny enough, I actually, when I first moved to Fairhope, Alabama, I applied at the insurance agency to work in said office. The agent that I had for 20 plus years, and I didn't get that job, but I didn't, which is a blessing, because I learned about insurance much later. But I ended up starting a business with my partner. We called ourselves Handy Women for Hire, and we did just odd jobs. And
right.
we ended up doing a lot of work cleaning up after other contractors' messes.
Right. No.
For elderly women, right? Because they'd get somebody come in and they had a bad experience, and so we'd end up fixing their stuff. And that got me into construction in the first place. I don't know if any of you other women out there are like this, but I was afraid I was going to hurt the thing I was working on with my battery screwdriver, or myself with my battery screwdriver.
Right.
Now give me any tool in the arsenal and I'm good. So
nice.
I came a long way. But part of that was actually because of Habitat for Humanity. We started volunteering our time with a women build.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is a really fantastic. It's, again, not to exclude women. It's more about empowering women, or exclude men. It's more about empowering women.
Correct.
And giving them the comfort level to really learn new skills and kind of jump in on the tools without somebody pushing them out of the way.
And that's awesome, because there are a lot of single moms, single women out there that need to be able to do it, because you can't always afford the plumber.
Right. That's right. And so that's a great place to become more comfortable with tools, which I learned. So that was really my first foray into construction. And we started, from that, I became a site supervisor. They needed extra help. And so this was, that was a really fun experience. And I ended up managing volunteers and teaching volunteers, which I found I really liked.
Yeah.
One of my majors was teaching at one point, and I had no desire to write lesson plans, but man, did I love teaching volunteers. So that was a great fit. And I will say that it was so much fun and so inspiring to see women who came in feeling much the way I did when I first started in the, touching power tools, to see how excited they get when they cut their first board with a power saw. And
nice.
And so that's what really inspired me and drove me to that passion, actually. And so we were building just a few houses a year that way, and then I was still working on the side with the handy business, and then Ivan and Katrina hit. And
wow,
that was, for everybody in this area,
that was
that was a very memorable time, not in a good way.
Right.
And there were a lot of people that lost their homes, and particularly low-income folks that needed help. And so Habitat got inundated with federal funding to help rebuild, but also lots of grants and other things, and to help these folks who really couldn't afford to recover, to get them into a safe, affordable home.
Absolutely.
And they're all paying for their home, but so you want to make sure they're paying for something that's sustainable.
Exactly.
Right? And so we did that. And then from there, that really elevated me to a construction manager role there. Because they needed that much more help. We went from like maybe 3 or 4 homes a year to 12 plus homes a year, which,
good Lord.
It's not, for some habitats, that's small fry still, but for us, it was a pretty significant growth period. Right. And then with that, I really started doing things like green building and energy efficiency, and I like sort of pushing that envelope of innovation and figuring out what's out there that's going to make these homes better for these families, right? And then shortly after that, many people in the insurance industry have been here a while, know that Ivan and Katrina have really affected our insurance industry, period.
It really did.
Rates went up, carriers left. It was a devastating time for this area. And so it was, while I was at Habitat, I actually met somebody that you and I both know, Carl Schneider.
Yes.
Who's known well in this industry, in this area in particular. And he introduced me to Fortified.
Really?
And, yeah. And he was, very passionate. Those out there that know him know how passionate he is about it. And we decided we're going to build one of the first fortified houses in the state, right there in Fairhope. And so he helped me raise some money. And then as construction manager, we built one of the first homes there. Impressive. And that was an adventure.
I bet.
For sure. We ended up building it out of concrete, which you don't have to build fortified concrete.
Right.
That was just the way that the direction we went at the time. And it ended up being a success in the end, and I learned a lot, and we did a lot of education around that, because if you think about not just the insurance industry, but around Fortified and around the built environment, there's so many people that touch that. Right.
Really
there's designers, architects, engineers, there's the roofers and subcontractors, there's the the contractors that are building it, there's the legislators that are passing code, or the the officials that are passing code, and the legislators that are influencing where we are now, which is great with the Fortified program and the incentives that are around. So we were educating all these folks, insurance agents, realtors, with this project, which was really, again, tapped into that teaching side of me.
Yeah.
So we really, that was a huge success, and we used that as a platform to really elevate and inform people around Fortified.
Nice.
And so that was the beginning of my foray in the insurance world, because shortly thereafter, I managed, I went into a role as executive director of Smart Home America, which is, as you know, a very important nonprofit partner of ours, of IBHS.
Is, yes.
And they, I managed that for some time until we were able to, with IBHS sort of wooing me to come because of my fortified and construction background.
Right.
And so I managed that and raised enough money just so we could hire somebody full time that could take Smart Home to the next level. And then I came to the Fortified program and joined them. And that was been actually 11 years ago on Monday.
Wow.
So
well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
But I learned more about the insurance industry in the first 6 months at Smart Home than I had ever learned in my entire life. And I've learned that most people have no idea what a deck page is or what's on it.
This is true.
Because I sure did not until I actually learned from Carl, all about what do all these things mean.
Right.
And people don't know.
They don't know.
And I also learned that my insurance agent took very good care of me.
Yes.
Because, not everyone is as knowledgeable or informative and helps their customers as much as, mine did. And I was fortunate.
Right.
I was
very
fortunate in that.
too, yes.
So that's really how I got into and where I landed with Fortified. And then my learning curve went sky high, and I've learned many more things since then about both the insurance industry and how that interplays with construction and how can we make things better.
I'm trying to think, what if you could go like back and maybe alter or change something a little bit, and not so much to promote you, but if there was, looking back, if you had known this or whatever, what wisdom would you like to take back, say 15 years with you, and start from there? Like, what would you wish you knew then?
I think that's an interesting question. I'm not sure 100% that I could answer it. I don't know that I have a really clean answer for that, because I feel like the path that I was on, and because I think the biggest thing is just is being open to opportunity.
Right.
Because everything I did fed into the next thing. Mm-hmm. And if I had not been open to opportunity and not been paying attention to what was coming at me, I could have missed something and not be sitting here, right? Like, I think that's the biggest thing is just, keep your eyes open and also trust it. I mean, trust that even in the worst moments that things will get better. Mm-hmm. Nothing stays the same.
No. And I think that's the perfect answer.
Yeah.
Because if you had that little bit of information, you wouldn't be where you are now. And who's to say you wouldn't have taken the wrong path?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I like that answer.
Yeah.
That was a good
one.
And
I think that generally speaking, that was a good lesson to learn, was that, everything changes.
Mm-hmm. And you can't look
the
back.
good and the bad, right? Like, if
Right.
you're stuck in the good, you're stuck in the bad, the better will come. Mm-hmm. And in the good, relish it while you're in it, because eventually something's going to shift, right?
Absolutely. So in this process of going from your English degree to now being at the forefront of Fortified with IBHS, was there ever a time where you did something or something happened, you made a mistake or made a decision, and you were like, holy crap, I have messed this up and it's over, but you ended up learning from it and moved on?
Yes, and it's funny. I'm sure I've made many more over the years. There's one actually from this morning that I can say. Yes, I had some fires to put out this morning, proverbial fires, but fires to put out this morning. Just I misspoke, and it was a big gaffe, and it was for a very important organization that we engaged with, and I thankfully I was able to recover pretty quickly, and I think one of the messages that actually has served me well in the past is own it. Mm-hmm. When you take responsibility, you maintain the power, and you can rectify it much more quickly, and it helps it to not get out of control, and which is exactly what, I had that in the back of my mind, and that's what I did today, and I'm hoping, it seems to be on a good track, and that, things will smooth over pretty quickly, but I can't say how much that has served me in the past. It's just owning it.
Oh, yeah.
And that really, really helps.
Yeah. Owning it for me is, boy, in the moment you're like, but it's what earns you respect. And it's what it allows people under you, above you, and beside you to see that, okay, she messed up, but she handled it with grace and she recovered from it, and let's move forward. I mean, you can't sit in it.
Take responsibility, apologize, and
move forward.
And figure out how you need to fix it to keep things moving in the right direction. Yeah.
So, do you have any funny stories that have happened along the way that...
Oh, gosh. I'm sure that I have lots of funny stories. Right now, they're not coming to me, but I promise you, if they do, I will make sure you hear about them.
Okay, we'll go ahead. So tell me this. People who are influential in your life, be it personal or professional or both, give me an example of how they have influenced you and why they are so influential to you.
Yeah. So I think from a personal perspective, probably my mom and dad. They had an incredible work ethic and really showed me how, just my core values and responsibility being one, and also just hard work pays off, and it does, and I've worked very hard to get where I am, and just being a good human.
Yeah.
Kindness.
Yeah. Did you have brothers and sisters?
I did. I have a younger brother.
Yeah.
And I think we both learned those really important values from them, and just taking care of others.
Yeah.
Especially the little guy. Making sure we're lifting people up and not putting people down.
Oh, absolutely.
All of that kind of thing is what I learned from them, which has served me both personally and professionally, of course.
Absolutely.
And then I think from a professional standpoint, I actually have a sort of yin and yang on that one.
Really? Tell me.
So I had probably one of the most challenging bosses at one point earlier in my career. And I was devastated because I really loved my job. Mm-hmm. And I've never been more misinterpreted in my life than this gentleman did to me.
Really?
Yeah, which was, was very hurtful at the time. And it's hard when somebody doesn't understand you or takes things wrong and just misconstrues what your
right
intents are, right? It's very personally, affected me terribly. That
does hurt.
Yeah. But I will say that every day I thank that man, because had I stayed where I was and that job that I loved, that really big negative in my life and that extreme stressor uprooted me into where I was able to see more opportunity and move into those opportunities, which I would not be here now had it not been for the challenges that I saw then. And so I would encourage anybody out there, if you're, it's not always the end of the world. Most of the time it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's something that it's just, I feel like it's the universe and God telling you it's time to move on. And there's bigger and better things for you to do. And I think that's really the lesson that I got from that one. So
right, and
it's huge.
It is, when you get out of it, it's a perspective thing.
So much.
I mean, because in the moment, it's so hurtful and all, but if you can step back for a second and really look and see, a lot of times you'll realize this really is the right thing.
Yeah.
It's all about perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
So who was the other one? Or is?
This one is harder because I will say that I've had a lot of really incredible mentors, and I've been very, very fortunate to have a lot of very positive influences in my professional career, really at every level. And I could name, 10 different ones. I won't do that. Spare you the time. But I think probably right now is my current boss has really been an incredible mentor and has been really influential in just the way the trust that he has in me.
Right.
I'm very fortunate that I have a lot of autonomy, but he's really given me that, in his faith in me and his trust in me, and the way that he manages our team is very inspiring. And, I think it's given me a lot of really good lessons on ways to deal with people.
Right.
In a very generous and kind, and even when there are lessons to be learned or when things are potentially negative, on how to handle those with grace and with, always spinning it towards the positive and giving people opportunity to improve and grow.
Right.
Which I really
Absolutely.
appreciate. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what advice would you give to women listening that want to move up in their career, no matter what the industry, insurance or otherwise? Is there anything you might want to tell them, to encourage them, or whatever? Because the negative boss thing, that's a good encouragement to keep moving. But
there's probably a couple things. Be true to yourself. Mm-hmm. Follow your gut.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
How many of us have ever thought after the fact, like, God, I shouldn't have trusted my gut?
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, you don't have those thoughts. That's
no.
if you're having it, go with it. And I think too, just don't worry about what other people think of you. There's been and just go for it.
Absolutely.
There's been times when I'm very grateful that I've been able to just, when I have a thought of something I want to do, I just go do it. And I'm not going to worry about the naysayers or the haters.
Yeah.
But I think there's a song about that. But yeah, just go for it and follow your heart. Be true to yourself.
Yeah, it sounds
so cliche, but
sounds
it's
so
true.
easy, but it's true. And I tell you, I really am stepping into that now, and it's extremely freeing. Extremely freeing.
It is.
And that's a hard step to take too.
Yeah. I did happen to think of the funny thing, or
What?
a funny thing, if you want.
I do.
So because I was in construction, and oftentimes I would have lots of email communications with people before I actually met them face to face. And so my signature says Alex. My name is Alexander, but I go by Alex. And so you can see where I'm going with this.
I can,
and so I was
Mr.
working. Well, that happened a lot. But when I was at the Habitat office one day, and somebody came in, obviously in construction, and they walked in and they said, "Yeah, I'm looking for Alex Cary." And I'm like, "Oh, hi, I'm Alex." And this shock of like, what? I found great amusement out of.
I bet.
Not to intentionally trick people, but I liked that I didn't have to extra prove myself, because they already knew who I was and my knowledge base before they met me, which was helpful.
But it was probably shocking to see a very tiny, because you are a small-framed woman,
right.
And in construction, you would think that, they wouldn't see you with the bulldozer.
Yeah, and well, exactly, and I think that tends to be with any of us that are in more male-dominated fields. I think that we maybe do tend to get misjudged and underestimated, which I feel like is an advantage personally, because then you can.
Yeah, because you don't want to. Like how you handled it was, "Hi, I'm Alex," and just like, this is normal, and
yes.
You don't want to be all, "Yeah, that's me."
Right.
And because if you go at it like, "Here I am."
Right.
Then people will accept you better. I mean, and men too, they'll respect that better.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it just is what it is.
Yep.
And you keep moving. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions, and you got to just answer me off the fly.
Okay.
All right. What is your favorite hobby or pastime?
Oh, I love cooking. That's easy.
Really?
Yeah, I do love cooking.
Any special type of cuisine?
Call it my Sunday therapy. No, I like baking quite a bit, although I don't.
Do you now? Because I bake.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. And I tend to give a lot at away, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a big sweets person, so I eat a little of it, and then I give the rest away.
It kind of looks like it, but I'm not.
No, not at all.
I like salty, savory.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a big one. And
well, okay, so what's the best compliment you ever received?
Oh, that's a tricky one. Yeah, I don't think I can answer it. I wish I remembered, because that would be nice. But I can't think of it right now. Maybe it'll come.
Okay. All right. If you could have any superpower, even if it was pointless, what would it be? It has to be kind of pointless. So if you could have a superpower that's kind of pointless, what would it be?
Oh, man, superpowers. I always contemplate that, and I always struggle with that one.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I don't know, because there's too many things. I think right off the cuff, I think flying's amazing. I don't know. It would be cool to just be able to soar around, and that's kind of pointless. It's not going to do anybody any good if Alex is flying around.
Well,
it would. I'd be able to
get out of the situation
get places much faster. That would be useful.
All right. What's your biggest pet peeve?
So the thing that came to mind is left lane riders.
Is what?
Left lane riders. Get out of the left lane.
Oh.
If you're going slow, just get out of the left lane.
I would not have pictured you for that.
I'm not a road rager, but it does frustrate me.
All right. If given a chance, what job would you like to try? Any job at all?
Yeah, so I actually, going back to the cooking, I would love to one day, like, add my next chapter, perhaps, of doing some sort of a little tea room or exclusive little restaurant where it's hard to get in because I just say, hey, this is what I got today. When it runs out, you're done. On my own time, not on the restaurant industry time. You know?
Yes.
That would be fun.
Pretty cool. Okay, what job would you absolutely not want to do? I cannot do monotony. So I would not be good in any job that has monotony. I mean, like repetition, monotony, like that. My brain, I'm a little bit ADD in that. Yeah.
That would not be good for me.
Okay, so we've learned a little bit about kind of what you do and all, and how you got there. What direction do you think this the next leg of your journey will take you?
I really feel like the particular journey I'm on is going to be for the long term. I love what I do. I love the impact it makes, and that was one of the things that I discovered when I was stepping away from Habitat. Is I find that organization is incredible. And helping families is incredible. But I wanted to do more than one house at a time, and I really wanted to have a greater impact. And I've very much enjoyed the impact that me and my team are making in the Fortified program, making people, making people's homes and businesses safer, so that, after these disasters, people can get back and start resuming life more quickly. Because I've seen way too many people just suffer needlessly when we know how to prevent the kinds of things. Not all of it, but we know a lot of it, and how to prevent the kind of things that we see every day. And that's really important to me. I'm very passionate about it, as is my team. I'm very fortunate to work with a great team that feels similarly. And so we do what we do to make things better. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So as we close this out, is there anything you would like to tell our audience, or is there any question you wish I would have asked you, or?
I mean, selfishly, maybe I would love that's a twofold answer, I think. I think selfishly, I would love to have a whole time to talk about Fortified and what we're doing, and like how the audience can engage with it, and that's important to me. And then as far as personally, I would just say to anybody out there, just if follow your passion, especially when it comes to, if there's something you feel passionate about in work, go for it.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have to get you back, and we'll talk all about Fortified at some point, because it's a fantastic program. And you can, if you want to tell us how we can get in touch with you, and in touch with your company, you can do that. We will put your Facebook, your links and all that on our Facebook and on our social media as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. And we have a pretty robust social media too, but fortifiedhome.org is the best place to find any information on Fortified, and then IBHS.org is another great one, because outside of the Fortified program, we have a lot of other, the wildfire program, and we have all kinds of advice on just loss reduction, whether it be interior, interior water or fire or whatever. So, I think that'd be.
Well, I know this wasn't planned, but do you have any questions for me? Is there a question you would like to ask me?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not fair. I wasn't prepared for that. No, what? Yeah, I do actually. What made you want to do this podcast? Like, what was the seed that sort of instigated this happening for you?
Because this industry, I know people think insurance is boring and insurance is whatever. And honestly, if you read a policy, you will fall asleep, just letting you know. But the truth is, this industry affords people the opportunity to move up and grow and find their passion like you did, because you're not in an agency office every day doing whatever.
Right.
But you still work with and in insurance.
Right.
And you found your passion, and you're outside and you're testing, and you do all these really great, cool things, because I know kind of background what you do. But for me, I really wanted to kind of get it out there that people think, and this is not a men against women thing at all. I am not that way at all, but people think it's a male-dominated industry because when you have a loss, your adjuster comes out, and generally speaking, it is a male adjuster or a husband-wife team or a team of whatever. But, so they automatically assume, and most of the pictures you see, agents and things.
Sure.
But the truth is, the insurance industry has so many incredible women, and women that from accounting to CEOs and presidents of companies, you don't even have to have a formal education.
Yeah.
Like, there are women I know that have a high school diploma, like me, and they've got their own agency, and they write their own stuff, and they do exceptionally well. And there are other women that with the insurance industry that actually have a lot to do with legislation. So people don't see that, and they don't know that, and you think, oh, well, I haven't worked in a while, or I haven't done this, or I don't have a college degree. You don't need one for this industry. If you have a strong work ethic and you're willing to learn, one thing I have discovered is in any industry, you're always going to have people that'll step on your back to move up the ladder. But in this industry, and this is what I'm passionate about, is that most people will cup their hands and give you a step up.
You're right.
They really will. So, and while I want this to encourage men and women all across the board in any industry whatsoever, I do want people to understand this is an incredible industry.
It is.
And what you do and the niche you're in is so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating. And that's one reason I really wanted you on, because I love what y'all do. And I just think it's really cool that people just assume insurance is an agent and writing a policy.
There's
and
so many layers.
There are so many layers.
So many
That's
different layers to
right.
insurance, And even at our organization, we have so many different roles. We've got engineers and architects down to the construction guys that build the houses we blow apart. So
and it doesn't matter what age you are.
And it doesn't matter. You're right.
Because I didn't start this until about 8.5 years ago. I mean, I was in my mid-40s. So, so there you go. That's why I wanted to do this.
Well, it's a gift for everybody out there. So thanks for doing it.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you being on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you all for joining Alex and I today. If you want to get in contact with her, we will have all of her contact information listed. And I look forward to seeing you on our next episode.